What's good, everybody? It's your boy JB Nine Deuce representing JB Speak Easy, the Black platform where Black people speak freely. Once again, I am your host, JB Nine Deuce. Thank you guys for joining me, whoever's watching. I've been speaking the last couple of days about the show topic that I plan on doing today, which is covering the Tory Lanez shooting. And the name of my show today is called Injustice: The Mistreatment of Black Men in the Court System of America. That is, once again, injustice, the mistreatment of Black men in the American court system. And before I get started, I would just like to say, first of all, hit the like and subscribe. You feel me? Go ahead and get my numbers up and, help your boy build his channel. But outside of that, I would like to say this is a tragedy in American Justice Society today, because there's no way that, first of all, there's no way that Tory Lanez should be doing 10 years for a crime I believe he did not commit. And I have facts to substantiate why I believe this. Because this man was just convicted, or excuse me, he was just told he's going to do 10 years for shooting Meg Thee Stallion. Now, according to some documents, according to court, some witnesses, and including other sources of information that I have, Tory Lanez didn't shoot Meg Thee Stallion. I believe that Tory Lanez was convicted not by the court ruling of an American justice system, but first by the social court system of social networks, like i.e. Facebook, i.e. Instagram, i.e. so many others, social network websites that basically slandered him just by the accusation and without having any proof. Well, fortunately enough tonight, guys, I actually have some proof that could speak to my boy's innocence. First of all, I'd like to talk about the charges that Tory Lanez was brought up on. His charges, according to the paperwork, was possession of an unregistered. There was 3 charges. One, possession of an unregistered firearm. The second one was assault and battery, but a particular statute of Chapter 246.3, which is gross negligence, meaning being reckless with a weapon that could cause injuries or harm to a person without concern for their well-being. So that would be a description of gross negligence, as well as what I believe they got him on was constructive possession, which doesn't mean he actually was in possession of the firearm, but he was in the vicinity of the firearm. And just those little tedious things like that can actually make a big difference when talking about a trial or a court case in which someone is going to have to be convicted to do time. So with that being said, I would just like to open up the phone lines to anybody. Oh, before I get to that, I would like to point out some other facts dealing with this case, as to why I also believe Tory is innocent, at least of shooting Meg Thee Stallion. One of the things that came out in my research that I've done, because I'm not just pulling this shit out of my ass, one of the things that I've done in my research is I found that Meg Thee Stallion, first of all, was never shot. Now, I know a lot of people going to look at me funny, like, what do you mean she was shot? It was all in the papers. That's what I'm saying. A lot of lies have been told. And one of the fallacies of the American justice system is that they did not print all the facts when they was putting out all the information. They did not also bring a lot of information in the court. When witnesses were interviewed, their accounts never taken into consideration. There were other officers that were actually suffering under different things called giglio issues. And so basically, we're sitting at a current time where the Black man's freedom can be stripped from him based off not by the court and jurors' opinion, by the court of public opinion, to where now the court of public opinion has now outweighed what the judicial system has put in place for jurors and an actual court system that will determine if this person is guilty or not. Because remember, everybody should remember, this is the main thing to remember about court. The main purpose of court is to prove without a reasonable doubt that somebody is guilty. And I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, with the Tory Lanez case, there is so much reasonable doubt, it's not even funny. You see what I'm saying? There's craters of holes in these people's stories. There are people that were witnessed and never interviewed. And witnesses that accounts was never taken into court and used as a way of proof of his innocence. There's so many things that could have pointed into Tory's innocence of shooting Meg Thee Stallion than him actually shooting her. For example, doctor's report, and I put a couple of these doctor's reports up in my previous video from earlier. Please go check that out, where I spoke on or where the doctor's report, had proof and evidence that she was never shot. It was something called a laceration to the foot. And what a laceration to the foot is that means a cut, a bruise, something that could have been a sharp glass or even a bullet itself grazing your foot. That's not the same as shooting. And when things get tedious and little caveats like that get brought into it, that actually makes a big difference in the court system. So for these small things to be going unchecked, I think that should bring suspicions to everybody's mind. What'd you think? So, I mean, just like I said, overall, this is a complete mishandling of justice. It goes to my main point, which my main point is in America today, the black man is free, but he's not free. We have the appearance of being free, meaning we're not slaves. We're not just being, Jim Crow working for slave labor like that. But no, we're still not free, because in the justice system, when someone wrongs us, or even if someone accuses us of wronging them, we don't have a fair trial in this country, to where we're literally watching what I call a digital lynching, which is we're watching a man being hung in the press, being hung up for dry by an American justice system that did not give him a fair trial. They did not give Tory a fair trial. And as far as Megan and Kelsey, I have zero remorse for it, because there were so many lies told that I cannot sit here and be in agreement with this black man going to jail. And it has been proven that there have been lies told upon this man's name. They've cast so many aspersions on this man's name, it's not even funny. In fact, there's many lies and things that were told. In fact, I would like to go over some of my notes that I had about the case. And one set of notes that I had in the case was dealing with Kelsey's statement. Kelsey's statement says that part of her statement, she said that Kelsey did this. Kelsey went to the stage and pled the fifth. Now, people say that's a real smart thing to do. Why would you not plead the fifth? As a matter of fact, let me go back. I got ahead of myself. Let me go back. There were two people that I had gained this information from that were pretty close to the case. One's name is Myron Gaines of the Fed YouTube channel, as well as Andrew from Legal Mindsets. Myron is a former CIA agent, worked for CIA. He worked for the government. He was a Fed, basically. And Andrew was a 10-year practicing lawyer, who both of them did a podcast where they covered the case. And a lot of interesting facts were released in this case that I found quite interesting. One thing that the lawyer said is that when people plead the fifth, they usually plead the fifth when they're the one on trial, and there might be something they're questioned on that might put them in a state where they're basically admittance to guilt. Now, take this back to Kelsey for a second. Kelsey literally pled the fifth, but she's not on trial. Tory Lanez was. So it brings into suspicion of lawmakers as well as defense attorneys, which is who Andrew is from Legal Mindsets. That's what he's saying, almost verbatim I'm giving to you. He said that to anybody working in law or in the court, they're going to, especially juries, are going to look at that very suspect, especially if they were to indict her or to bring her or to put her on trial, not just as a witness or giving a testimony, but actually being brought and put on trial. They would actually be more suspect of her doing that, because why are you pleading the fifth if you're not even on trial before you can even say anything? It makes you look suspicious. And this is a lawmaker saying this. Well, not a lawmaker, but a lawyer saying this. That is awfully suspicious. So she pleads the fifth, and they offered her something called use immunity. Now, I'm going to get back to use immunity, because there's a difference between regular immunity and use immunity. But what I will start by saying, here's some other things Kelsey said that kind of didn't sound right. So she took the stand at one point in court and admitted to lying. Now, I remember, I don't know all the deeper parts of the law, but I do know this. When you take the stand and you lie, that within itself is a big red flag to a lot of lawyers and judges and people that's on the jury. When you said that you've lied, when we catch you in a lie, you're pretty much being caught in a lie in the court system is basically the death to yourself in the case, because at the end of the day, your character is now being called into question. Should we believe anything this person says? Because they're known to be lying. In fact, we're catching them lying. So, this is a very interesting, case to say the least. But I will say this. I will say that when it comes to the Tory Lanez case, just seeing how this has been so much, it seemed like covering up of trying to get to the real problem, which is, was this just or unjust? It's outrageous. But I'm gonna stop the stream right now. I'm gonna start back another stream just in case. Well, let me end this shit. Hold on.